Kush's movie review.
This week's movie review is Last Breath, the long-awaited sequel to James Cameron's Titanic, where we get to see what it was like for the survivors who are trapped 100 meters below sea level. Starring Woody Harrelson as a bloated Jack Dawson and directed by Alex Parkinson.
That'd have been a fun movie too.
A zombie Titanic? Oh,
I'm sure, I'd be surprised if that hasn't been done yet.
let's make it
I feel
happen.
like there's a zombie Titanic out there. Anyways,
Anyway,
uh,
tell us about Last Breath.
we are talking about Last Breath. It is PG-13 and it is a very, very nice 93 minutes.
Oof.
It is written and directed by a man named Alex Parkinson, and Alex actually did a documentary called Last Breath. I think it was on Netflix in the UK. I know you can find it here on Prime for like $2, $3. However, it is a documentary about the true story of this movie. I think that's an interesting tidbit there. Also written by a Mitchell LaFortune and a David Brooks. Stars the aforementioned Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu. Interesting seeing Simu Liu, Marvel's Shang-Chi, in another biopic. Last time we saw him was Arthur the King with Mark Wahlberg. You liked yourself some Arthur the King, if I recall. And then Finn Cole, he plays Chris Lemons, who is the subject of this film. And I'm not familiar with Finn Cole, but apparently he's a big chunk of Peaky Blinders. And then played
Sounds
Baby
like it.
John Cena in a flashback in the movie F9. Um, this is a movie about a deep sea diving team, and you're aware, Mike, like there's just a very long cable that connects from the United States all the way to Europe.
Yep.
I'm sure they got
The
other
zip
cables that
line.
go to
Oh,
other
it's
parts
so
too.
exciting.
Yeah, well, these guys get booked to go underwater and literally plug the fucking thing back in. Like, I don't know. It never gets discovered how the thing got unplugged. Maybe a whale swam by it. It's not important, but at some point we do get to the bottom of the ocean outside of Scotland, and my man literally just grabs the thing and boom, and plugs the whole thing back in. It was kind of silly when I saw it. Um, Having said that though, if you get claustrophobic, this movie is fucking intense, dude. Again, we're talking deep sea divers. I forget what the measurement is, 300 feet, 100 meters. Like, they're very deep down there where there's no light. They have to use flares. They have to use high-powered lights. Um, but they
Wait, what do
also,
they have to
before they
use
can
down
even
there?
flares and high-powered lights. Nice. Anyway, they have to decompress in a chamber for 4 days before they can even start their mission. Uh, so some intense shit like that. So really not much to say else. Otherwise, the guy who plays Chris Lemons, his character ends up his cable, the thing that's got his oxygen, it's his radio support, it's his video camera. It's all one giant cable that gets caught on a corner
It's
as
called the
they're in the middle of a
umbilical
big
cord.
storm. The umbilical cord gets caught on a corner and ends up severing, and he's down there with just his reserves. And it's not a lot of reserves. He's got like 10 minutes. They don't get to him in 10 minutes. It takes a whole lot longer. So, um, like I said, this is based on a documentary. I can, I think if you've ever read a book, you probably know where this goes. It's a pretty intense story. For 93 minutes, it felt like maybe they only had like 88 minutes because there's this weird 5 minute portion of the film that really had nothing to do but explain why Woody Harrelson was so intent on not having the pod leave without Chris Lemons. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, also maybe he was just worried about his teammate. I don't think we need to hear about the extracurriculars of what happened 20 years prior. Yeah, couldn't find a guy. That sucks. He's probably still worried anyways. Again, this is based on a true guy, true event. Uh, Chris Lemons has apparently got a fascinating story about this, where this guy just continues to cheat death. As a boy, he almost got hit by a runaway camper van. As a teenager, He was swept out to sea in a freak windsurfing accident. And then, one time he went skiing on a skiing holiday in his 20s and was caught in an avalanche, buried alive. Like this dude is like the drummer for Spinal Tap. It's kind of crazy. So, and now he is, well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. He survives drowning.
Nice.
How? That you'll have to see the movie. I believe it's a Focus Features film, so it'll probably be on Peacock in the United States sooner than later. But it's very good. It's very intense. Very again, lots of claustrophobia for me. I would not do this job. Like I don't care if you offer me six figures minimum. No, Kush Hayes will not be underwater and not be in any deep decompression chambers. Um, Having said that, it's a low 4 out of 5.
Woody Harrelson loves nautical movies recently. Do you remember he was on, what was it, The Triangle of Sadness? Remember that?
That's right. Yeah, he wasn't. He was probably the best part of that movie.
He was, but that
The
was a
movie was
weird fucking
awful.
movie. Yeah, that was
The
terrible.
movie was awful.
So there you go. Last Breath. Low 4 out of 5.
Hmm.
Check it out. It's got Woody Harrelson in it. What can you go
He's
wrong?
great. Simu Liu is great. The kid Finn Cole, he's pretty good. Yeah, like you're worried.
Before we wrap up this week's movie review, to go full circle from the introduction, I did a little digging. Turns
Hmm.
out there is a zombie Titanic movie,
Yeah, thought that would be.
but do you want? There's like a big story behind it, right?
Well,
Because did you know that there was in 2010 a movie released called Titanic 2?
yeah, it was on the Sci-Fi Channel overnight.
So apparently, the Wikipedia says, despite the title, it is not a sequel to the
Hmm.
1997 critically acclaimed film.
Yeah.
So the Titanic 2 was a film set in a replica of the Titanic that sets off exactly 100 years after the original ship's maiden voyage
Hmm.
to perform the reverse route by global warming and forces of nature, yada yada yada. Ship sinks again, right?
Yeah. This was an Asylum Pictures, and they do all the mockbusters. So instead of Transformers, Transmorphers.
Ooh,
They do all that shit. They're responsible for the Sharknado films. So yeah, Titanic 2 is right up their alley. And yeah, again, the ship is called the Titanic number 2.
marvelous. Well, in 2022,
Okay, there you
there was a
go.
movie released called Titanic 666,
Okay, yeah. I think I've seen the cover for that.
and it is a sequel to Titanic 2,
Oh, fun.
released on Tubi, which hopefully it's still on there because if it is, I'm watching it as soon as we get off this. And the plot. Now, on Wikipedia, have you ever looked at movies on Wikipedia
Hmm.
and it gives you the plot? And sometimes
Sure.
it just gives you everything. Like oh, I don't really need to watch this movie. It gives you everything, right?
Hmm.
Do you want me to
Seems
read you the entire section of the plot
I
to
think me
Titanic
and the Serb Squad
666?
both want you to read the entire synopsis, please.
Because once I'm done with this, I want you to continue listening to this podcast. I want you to finish this podcast. But once I've read this plot, I wouldn't blame you if you like, fuck this shit, shut this show off, and went straight to Tubi to try to find Titanic 666.
Oh,
Because this plot, chef's kiss.
okay.
How this didn't win an Oscar, I have no idea.
Have some ideas.
110 years after the sinking of the original, the second replica, Titanic, named Titanic 3, begins its maiden voyage to the original wreck site. And then strange things begin to occur after the ship's arrival. The passengers start turning into ghosts, and as a result, the sink ships. The end. Brilliant.
Okay. I
That's
mean,
it.
it's
That's
very
that's all the
straightforward.
information you're getting.
It's very straightforward.
I'm still gonna watch it. There was another fuck, what movie? It was a really bad movie, but I owned it on DVD. Where it was
Hmm.
another. It was like a ship. It was like what's those movies where Final Destination? It was kind of like
Okay.
Final Destination, but on a boat.
Ghost Ship.
Go ship! Boom! That's it. Look
Yeah.
at you. That
Hmm.
was such a
Yeah,
terrible movie, but I
everybody
remember
gets
it having a
cut.
good soundtrack.
Okay. It would have been probably like 2000, 2002.
I think it had like
So yeah,
Mudvayne.
it had
Mudvayne
that
was
big
on the.
opening where everybody got bisected. at the beginning.
Yes, the wires.
Mhm.
Oh my God, yes, that soundtrack was so good. Oh my God, I've got so much. I've got a rabbit hole of information to dive down once we get off this. This is amazing. Ghost Ship,
Mhm.
Titanic, 666 on Tubi. Anyway, so there you go. Last breath. Low 4 out of 5. Check it out.
That's all, folks.
Play me off, Johnny.